Starting on the 20th of December, Major College Football will stage its first ever 12-team playoff. But it's a little bit complicated. The bracket itself will look familiar. The top 4 seeds will get first round byes, number 5 plays number 12, number 6 plays number 11, etc. But there are some quirks. Some teams play their first games in their own stadiums, while others will fly to Miami or Arizona. The quarterfinals fall on a major holiday, while the semifinals are on a random Thursday and Friday a week later. And then the final game is on a Monday night, in a sport normally synonymous with Saturdays. Some of the games are labelled the Sugar Bowl or the Fiesta Bowl, but not the first round and not the national championship game. So why is this playoff so complicated? Well, it starts with the fact that a 155-year-old sport didn't even crown an official champion for most of its history. In 1890, the citizens of Pasadena, California, wanted to throw an event in the middle of the winter to show off their sunny weather and blooming flowers to people trapped in the cold and snow back east. They created the Tournament of Roses, a New Year's Day festival featuring jousting, polo matches, and as the centerpiece, a parade of carriages decorated with roses. It proved so popular that in 1902, organizers added a football exhibition between teams from the University of Michigan and Stanford University. But the Wolverines' 49-0 win must have bored the attendees because the game was replaced the following year by chariot races. It did return, however, in 1916 and became an annual tradition that took off upon the unveiling of the majestic Rose Bowl Stadium in 1923, and the game took on its name. Soon, other warm weather cities seeking tourism created their own New Year's game, and by the mid-1930s there was the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans, the Orange Bowl in Miami, the Cotton Bowl in Dallas, and the Sun Bowl in El Paso, Texas. Now, because there was no playoff, the national champion was whichever team finished the season number 1 in the polls, as voted on by sports writers and coaches. If a different school finished number 1 in each, then they just declared it as a split national title, rather than having those two teams play each other on a football field to determine the winner. Eventually, the demand for a true national champion became too loud to ignore. But even then, college football's leaders went to great lengths to accommodate the bowl system. It led to the BCS, the Bowl Championship Series, which beginning in 1998 finally guaranteed a number 1 versus number 2 bowl game every year. But it came with almost yearly controversy about who should be selected and how. So finally, in 2014, the sport agreed to adopt a 4-team playoff, with the semi-finals played at 2 of the traditional New Year's Bowls. The winners advanced to a championship game played at a rotating neutral site, much like the NFL does with the Super Bowl. Now, the format worked fine when it came to finally crowning an undisputed champion, but it had an unintended consequence. The other bowl games, not hosting a playoff game, became less important. So much so that many star players opted to skip them altogether to start preparing for the NFL draft. And so, in 2021, commissioners proposed a radically new system. A 4-round, 12-team playoff featuring the 5 highest-ranked teams to win their conference championships and 7 at-large teams. The top 4 seeds would earn a bye and advance straight to the quarterfinals at the Rose, Sugar, Peach, and Fiesta Bowls. The other 8 would meet in the first round on the 3rd weekend of December on the college campuses of the better seed. But how were those teams chosen? Well, a 13-person selection committee, as it did in the 4-team era, ranks its top 25 teams weekly, beginning in early November and culminating in early December. The panel consists of current athletic directors and school administrators, and former coaches and players, all of whom are supposed to evaluate the teams based on schedule strength, head-to-head results, and their own subjective opinions. The big difference in the new format is that the committee's 5 highest-ranked conference champions receive guaranteed places. And while it's not set in writing, it's presumed that they will go to the ACC, Big Ten, Big 12, and SEC champions, as well as the highest-ranked champion from the group of 5 leagues. And the other 7 bids will go to the highest-ranked teams that didn't win their conference. So, this was the very thing that multiple generations of university presidents, athletic directors, and other leaders had said was inconceivable. Too disruptive to the athletes' academics, too much wear and tear on their bodies, too cold in most parts of the country for fans to be outside for that long. But unsurprisingly, all of that went out of the window at the prospect of a 6-year, $8 billion television contract with ESPN. And so, on the 20th of January 2025, at Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz Stadium, the final 2 teams in the playoff will face off to be national champions. And this, of course, is on a Monday, because while a 12-team college playoff is exciting, organisers didn't dare go up against the NFL.
If you like this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. The Athletic is home to the best team of sports writers, reporters, and analysts in the world, offering exclusive stories and unrivaled insight. You could try The Athletic for free for 30 days by clicking the link in the description.